أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now in last week's class we covered cleanliness, tahara, and the things that break or nullify wudu, and why and how tayammum is done, as well as what factors break tayammum. So that was covered in the last fiqh class. Now, regarding cleanliness, as Muslims, we should always be clean. That is by keeping our body, by keeping our clothing, by keeping our homes clean at all times. If a person remains dirty at all times, then the angels will stay away from that person. Now, this leads to the question as to what kind of water is permissible to use for cleaning ourselves. Rainwater, well water, river water, sea water, and water from a big tank or pool. So the water from these is permissible to clean ourselves. Now next we'll focus on some of the etiquettes of going to the washroom. Now different places have different names for it. Some call it toilet, some call it washroom, some call it bathroom. So basically a place where you go to relieve yourself. Before going to the washroom, one must say Bismillah and then the dua for going to the washroom, which is Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubthi wal khaba'ith. And then you enter with your left foot. And then make sure that no drops of urine falls on your body or on your clothes. So one has to be mindful of that. And if such thing happens, then you need to clean that area or that part of the clothing. And the next thing is, do not eat, drink, or talk in the washroom. This is sadly a reality that we hear people in the washroom. They're on the phone, they take their phones, they talk, they listen to some program, news, music, or whatever. So please know that that must not be done. And next is not to read books, comics, or newspapers in the washroom. And one must wash hands after coming out of the washroom. And when you step out of the washroom, you must step out with your right foot. And then recite the dua, غُفْرَانَكَ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي أَذْهَبَ عَنِّي الْأَذَى وَعَافَانِي. Now these were some of the etiquettes of going to the washroom and then coming out. Next we will cover najasa. What is najasa? Impurity. Now there are two types of najasa. One is najasa ghaliza and one is najasa khafifa. So najasa ghaliza is heavy impurity and najasa khafifa is light impurity. Now how do we know that impurity is heavy or light, or if it is najasa ghaliza or if it is najasa khafifa? Now what are the major impurities or najasa ghaliza? Now those are, note these down, that any impurity that comes out of your body, or cow dung on your clothes, or dung of horse and cow, or urine and excretion of mice. And if a baby boy or girl, whether they have started to eat or not, urinate or excrete on you, discharge or semen on clothes, if it is wet, then it must be washed. And if it is dry, then it is sufficient to rub it off. And excretion of chicken, duck, and pet animals. So all of these are najasa ghaliza, major impurities. Next, we will cover minor impurities, najasa khafifa. And those are the urine of halal animals, which is animals whose meat we can eat. And urine of a horse, blood of fish, saliva of a mule or donkey, excretion of haram birds, that is meat of birds that we cannot eat, and excretion of halal birds, which is, for example, pigeon. Now the question arises, how do we clean these impurities? To clean any type of najasa, we need to use water. If the impurity is visible, then you must wash it until it is not visible. If a small trace is still visible and it is hard to remove it, then there is no harm in it. And finally, if the impurity is not visible, then you must wash it until you think it is clean. And to do this, you can estimate by washing it 3 times. And each time you wash it, you squeeze the water out. You wash it 1 time and then you squeeze the water. Then you wash it 2nd time, you squeeze the water out of the clothing. And then you wash it 3rd time and then you squeeze water.